before it happens.
You're watching WTBK Channel 26 Knoxville. And this is News Center 26 with Alan Denton, Brenda Birch, Topper Shuck, and Rusty Emser.
Good evening, I'm Brenda Birch.
And I'm Alan Denton. Vicki Frost says she can't cope with her child closing his eyes and going through a supernatural experience. The mother of 4 testified in day 2 of the textbook trial. Frost and 6 other families are suing the Hawkins County School Board for alternative textbooks in the classroom. As Lisa Stearns reports, it's a question of whether or not religion should be separated from the public schools.
With tears in her eyes, Vicki Frost told the court she will not put up with her daughter being a feminist. Frost cited the Equal Rights Amendment as just one ungodly issue the Holt Reading Series, used by Hawkins County, presents without giving the other side. The publisher disagrees.
We don't agree with the notion that these books could hurt kids in any way. They are used widely all over the country with great results. The main purpose is to teach reading through the best literature we can find, and that's what we believe they do.
Frost is the first witness in the case. She is sponsored by the fundamentalist group Concerned Women for America. The group's attorney says the kindergarten through 8th grade readers exclude the parents' Christian beliefs. Frost read a story where a young girl wants to pet a worm. She says this places women in untraditional roles. Attorneys say stories like these are too hard to counteract.
Certainly people have various ideas on philosophical, political viewpoints, and some of them are based in religion. What we are saying is that the Holt books present them only from one side. There's no equal time. There's none of our religious beliefs. None of the plaintiff's religious beliefs are presented in those books.
But attorneys for the other side say some of Frost's testimony is ridiculous.
Oh, I think she's one of the greatest performers I've ever seen, and she improves with each performance. But I don't think she knows that she's digging her own grave.
Vicki Frost says her objection is with the Holt Reading Series, but opponents say public education is on trial here, a trial that could set a national precedent. Lisa Stearns, News Center 26, Federal Court in Greenville.
And those textbooks aren't the only books parents have tried to keep out of the reach of their children. Authors such as Mark Twain, John Steinbeck, and even William Shakespeare have been taken off school library shelves. But as Melinda Kramer reports, one local bookstore is rallying around freedom of the press and freedom of choice.
The sign says it all, and Walden Books personnel admit it has brought the curious off the street and into the store. But clerks say customers are surprised by what's on display.
These are books that are on our shelves all the time. Books in the Knoxville area, I would say 90% of those books are on the school reading list this summer.
What customers won't find on display here are materials from an adult bookstore. What they will find are books like Huckleberry Finn and the Living Bible. Many of these on display considered to be literary classics. Most of these books can be found on the shelves of East Tennessee school libraries, but the volumes displayed here have been challenged or banned in other states, bringing mixed reactions from customers.
They're all good books. Oh, yeah. No, I don't see anything wrong with them.
If some books have low moral content, but not low enough to drive their clientele away, they'll sell it.
But O'Neill insists the banned books promotion is to emphasize freedom of choice, not to make money.
Well, these books are not on sale, per se.
Moves to outlaw books are not new, but O'Neill says the number challenged has grown over the past 5 years, perhaps reflecting a change in society.
I think that we're seeing a new amount of activism from conservative Christian groups. And I think that litigation is just one aspect of that activism.
There will also be more displays like this one. O'Neill says reaction from both sides has been so strong, he expects to run the display again next year. Melinda Kramer, News Center 26.
Jury selection for C.H. Butcher Jr.'s fraud trial entered its second day in Chattanooga today. Butcher is charged with using false financial reports to entice investors into Southern Industrial Banking Corporation just weeks before the uninsured loan and thrift failed. Also charged in the case is former SIBC President James Steiner. Court officials say today 73 prospective jurors filled out questionnaires to determine their eligibility. Tomorrow, attorneys are expected to begin weeding out those who won't qualify. Well, the hearing for the 11 people at the Knoxville office of Congressman John Duncan was postponed today. General Sessions Judge Jeff Emery granted the continuance because not all of the state's witnesses were on hand. Members of the Pledge of Resistance were arrested by Knoxville police on charges of criminal trespassing more than 2 weeks ago. Attorneys for the group, Tom Farmer and John Eldridge, said if found guilty, each member could serve up to 30 days in jail and or pay $50 in fines.
Whatever the consequences are, we feel that it's worthwhile, not only for the American people, but for the Nicaraguan people as well. And we don't feel that the administration nor our Congress has represented them properly. And in order to do that, we're willing to take that risk.
The hearing has been reset for August 27th. The group was protesting President Reagan's decision to send aid to the Contra rebels in Nicaragua.
9 deaths in the sun-baked southern region are being blamed on the current blistering heat wave. Farmers are in desperate shape, and unless significant soaking rainfall is received, stream flows and groundwater levels will reach critical levels not seen in recent history. And dry conditions are threatening construction efforts at the GM Saturn plant in Spring Hill, Tennessee. GM officials have applied for a state permit to draw water from area streams, but say they would only do so as an extreme last resort.
And unfortunately, Topper sees little of the type of rain needed to ease the drought. His full forecast is just ahead.
But many of you may still be cleaning up from the storms that rolled through yesterday. We'll have details up next.
Can this school flunk out? Not a chance. Old Knoxville High graduated many a student since 1911, and today these halls are still filled with people learning. At Home Federal, we never stop learning either. Whenever you've had a banking need, we've found a way to meet it. And after all these years, we're still the same people under the same name. Just like at Old Knoxville High, school is never out at Home Federal. Yes, it's good to know some things last. Home Federal, everything your bank should be.
There are hundreds of reasons to shop Markman's Diamond Brokers besides our fine quality and everyday low prices. You'll find hundreds of beautiful and unusual items crafted of diamonds, precious colored stones, Tennessee and cultured pearls, and solid gold jewelry. We want you to like our selection, so we've continued to expand and improve it. Markman's is the place for diamonds and much more. I'm Harold Markman, and you can be sure you buy for less because we buy for less.
The rain of the past couple of days has been a welcome sight to most of us, but the high winds and lightning that came with it have been damaging. A storm ripped through a campground at Concord Lake yesterday afternoon. But as Bonnie Jansen reports, that's just part of enjoying the great outdoors.
It's more than just cutting up firewood. This surgery team is eliminating a near tragedy. Monday's afternoon storm toppled this huge tree, splitting the camper in half. Fortunately, no one was inside. The owner of the camper is trying to salvage all he can, but most everything is ruined.
Well, I just wait till the insurance pays off and buy another one, I guess.
Do something, break the pole right. Power lines were ripped down, but most of the campers came through the storm unscathed. They did have to clean the branches and limbs away from their yards, but for the most part, the violent storm passed them by.
We was praying for the Lord to let that storm cease, and it did. That's the only thing we knew to do, is pray for everybody in his campsite. That's right. We didn't know whether we wanted to live or die.
But as destructive as the weather's been the past couple of days, the people out here say they aren't going to let it ruin their vacations.
Oh, no, no. No, this is a way of life. You don't change that.
None of these vacationers have pulled out and gone home. As one person put it, vacations are made for stories. And yesterday's storm will make a classic. Bonnie Jansen, News Center 26.
And I guess that's one vacation they'll always remember, too.
I'm sure of that. I would, anyway.
I would, too.
Close call.
Close call. Little known fact, sometimes people think that tornadoes kill more people in the country than lightning, but actually lightning is the #1 natural cause of death here in the country as far as weather causes
are we in for some of that the next couple of days?
No, Alan, actually the frontal system is moving away, and it looks like we're going to really dry out for the next 5, possibly even 7 days now. And it looks like only some scattered afternoon relief will be on tap in the afternoons, and temperatures will be back up into the middle to upper 90s once again by Thursday and Friday. Let's go outside to the numbers presently at McGee-Tyson Airport. 87 degrees. The high today was 88. Now, so far for the month of July, this was the second day we've been below 90 for the month of July, and only the third day we've been below 90 since the 19th of June. The low this morning was 68 degrees. Now the record high 98 set back in 1899, and the record low 52 set back in 1967. The barometer is falling slightly at 30.13 inches of mercury. The relative humidity is 58%. Winds are calm. Trace of rain at the airport recorded this morning gives us just a little over 1.5 inches for the month of July. Still a little over 14 inches now behind for the 1986 season. But remember, the drought goes all the way back to 1985. We had one of our driest winters. You couple the two together, we're about 24 inches behind. There are your sunrise and sunset times. The pollution standard index today, 63. That is in the moderate range. And the pollen index, once again, was in the slight range. Now, the jet stream tonight dipping a little further south in the eastern United States, providing a little cooler temperatures for portions of the Great Lakes and New England. And some of that cooler, drier air did spill down into the valley tonight. But as you can see, for the most part, the jet stream is well to the north of us. And we're going to have quite a heating trend, I think, for the next 3 to 4 days, with temperatures possibly in over the century mark in western Tennessee by the weekend. Now, you see the warm front up through portions of the Great Lakes. Look at all the bright white clouds there. Most of Wisconsin is now covered by a tornado watch until 6 o'clock local time, which is 7 o'clock Eastern time. Here's the warm front that continues to move away from us, and with that direction, so goes our chances for any real showers. Now, as far as the East Coast is concerned, most of the showers in through the Carolinas tonight. Matter of fact, most of South and North Carolina covered by a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock. But as far as we're concerned in the valley, just some hit or miss showers, only about a 10 to 20% chance for the next couple of days. Now, the lows tonight in the 60s, I think, for eastern Tennessee. 60s is going to cut down through Georgia and Alabama, but look at the 70s out to our west, in through Tennessee, and all the way back in through the Plain States. And look at the 90s tomorrow. Unbelievable, with some spotty century marks. Once again, century mark on tap for Oklahoma City and Topeka, Kansas. We're going to be in the 90s, I think, for all of Tennessee, and some of these century marks are going to creep pretty close to West Tennessee by the weekend. I think here in the valley we will remain in the upper 90s through the weekend. Now, the forecast map for tomorrow, you see that warm front continuing to move to the north. That'll provide some rain once again for portions of the Great Lakes states. I tell you, as dry as we have been in the last 2 weeks, they have been that wet the last 2 weeks up in the Great Lakes. You can see that the warm front will continue to move away from us. We're going to have a really return to partly cloudy to almost mostly sunny skies tomorrow, and very, very warm temperatures once again for the remainder of the weekend. Now, the forecast for some other cities, the nation's capital, sunny skies and 89, Miami partly cloudy and 90, Kansas City sunny skies and 98, sweltering degrees, and Seattle cloudy skies and cool, a low temperature of 69, a high temperature of 69. We'll go right to the forecast for you. Partly cloudy tonight with some isolated thunderstorms, low temperature of 69. For tomorrow, partly cloudy and warm, high temperature of 93. We'll call it hot. And tomorrow night, partly cloudy and a low temperature of 71. So with the front moving away from us, really the best chances of rain have ended, and we're going to dry out for the remainder of the week.
And that's not too good news,
That's not good news at all.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Up next, new signs for safety are up in front of the dangerous Buckhorns Bridge.
And local church groups are playing hardball to defeat serving beer at a proposed softball complex.
Tums doesn't have it. Rolaids doesn't have it. Maalox Plus does. We have what you need for complete relief of excess acid, heartburn, and gas. You need Maalox, America's #1 antacid for excess acid and heartburn, plus the #1 reliever of painful gas pressure. Now both come in handy roll packs of Maalox Plus tablets and fast-acting liquid. Compared to these others, only Maalox Plus has all that, plus a great Swiss cream flavor. Get complete relief. Try Maalox Plus.
Honey, I'm home.
Oh, I love it. John, you're great.
Honey, open the door. All right, where is he?
The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. It's worth staying up for on WTVK TV 26.
Slow down and drive cautiously. That's the message Department of Transportation officials are sending motorists traveling across Buckhorns Bridge on Alcoa Highway. 6 new oversized signs are going up warning drivers the bridge is narrow and should be crossed carefully. Concern is mounted over the width of the bridge following a number of recent accidents that have resulted in 3 deaths. The new signs advise travelers to reduce their speed from 50 miles an hour to 40. Transportation spokesman Steve Bird told News Center 26 today he's hoping the new signs will increase the safety of the Alcoa Bridge.
Well, it was vans on parade this morning as the Knox County Community Action Committee showed off 15 new vehicles. In addition to the passenger vans, 2 buses equipped with wheelchair lifts will also take to the highways, all to lend a hand to Knoxville's senior citizens. Mayor Kyle Testerman presided over today's procession. The new vehicles will help senior citizens with everything from trips to the doctor to running errands.
City officials and church softball teams are at odds over a proposed softball complex. It's not the facility itself, but the type of beverage to be sold during the game. Churches don't want beer sold in the new complex, and both sides are expected to face off at tonight's city council meeting. Norman Hammett is standing by live right now. Norman, beer sales create quite a problem with most churches.
Yes, Alan, they do. The churches have they are against the selling of beer for the reason that they think it will destroy the family-type atmosphere that comes along with the softball games. They fear it will destroy that with the new complex. They say the consumption of the beer mixed with the already competitive spirit with the players will make for trouble. And they say they're prepared to do anything they can to stop that from happening.
We don't want to stop the facility. All we want to do is stop the sale of beer at the facility.
And that stance by area church softball teams has struck out the proposal for a new softball complex, at least for the time being. Don Brickley of the Mount Olive Baptist Church team says he speaks for the 60 church squads in the 300-team City League. He says the consequences of drinking beer won't make it pleasant for wives and children to attend.
You're looking at the content of alcohol in the blood. As everyone knows, if they've been around any people that have been drinking, the tongue seems to get a little looser. Things are said. Tempers rile easier.
But city recreation officials see no problem with satisfying the church teams and still selling the beer. Administrator Cotton Jackson said a compromise can be reached. He says concession sales from beer and other beverages would be the only way the city could make a profit.
The option that we can use there and that we would be glad to work with them is that when we do have the league play for the churches here, there would be no alcoholic beverages sold, no beer sold.
The idea for a modern facility has been discussed for several years. The plan would be to take the existing Winona Park and Evans Collins Field and reconstruct them to hold 4 fields, a restaurant, and locker rooms. Jackson said the $1.5 million project would be something that Knoxville softball teams could be proud of.
We can't host a regional, we can't host a World Series here because of the facility that we have.
Quality Sports of Colorado is the company scheduled to build the structure and lease it through the city. However, a city ordinance prohibits the sale or consumption of beer in city parks. And that ordinance could be the defense area churches will use to keep the suds from flowing.
From everything that I can see that would possibly happen in a family atmosphere, you don't need that kind of thing.
Alan, both sides, as we said before, both sides will be at City Council tonight prepared to discuss the issue if it should come up. It is not scheduled for tonight's agenda.
And if it does come up, you'll have more on that at 11.
Yes, we will, Alan. As a matter of fact, Mr. Brickley told me that he is prepared to do just about anything, even construct his own facility if the city goes ahead with their new complex.
Okay, thank you, Norman.
Thank you.
And from softball to baseball.
Exactly right. The mid-season classic, as they're calling it, is tonight in the Astrodome. The best players in baseball are gathered for the All-Star game. We'll tell you about that game coming up tonight, plus part 2 of A Brave New World. Tonight, the Braves pitching staff.
Drugs, crime, ruined lives. Over 100 young people in Tennessee died of drug overdose last year. Finally, someone is doing something about it. Ned McWhirter pushed through the toughest laws against drug dealers in the United States. 35 years behind bars, minimum, all illegal property, all assets confiscated. As governor, he'll declare all-out war on drugs. Ned McWhirter for governor. He'll keep all of Tennessee moving ahead.
With my Main Street friends, I'm wondering what they'd think if I said I had something that could carry them back in time, take them into the future, send them on an incredible adventure, something that could sweep them away to distant lands, into the heavens, beneath the seas, something that can make them laugh or make them cry, all without ever leaving their seat. Well, what would you think?
Well, that's pretty easy.
Try this one, it's fantastic.
Books are terrific. Pick one up today and see for yourself.
On the next Benson, Pete has the results.
I've got the latest poll. We're not too popular with John Q. Public.
Let's not panic. It's only one person.
Kraus wants immediate results.
I'm going down to that hotel, and if they're going to tear it down, they'll have to do it over my dead body.
And Benson can't get results.
Is miscellaneous?
Let's all be there.
Baseball's best players will play in tonight's 57th All-Star game. History tells us that the National League will win. The NL has won 13 of the last 14 and 21 out of the last 23 midseason classics. And this one should be a classic in its own right. Tonight will mark the second time the Astrodome has hosted the All-Star game. The hometown Astros have 4 players on the NL squad. But the big talk has centered around the dominance of the senior circuit. No one knows why, and the American League is banking on some first-timers to help shake the AL miseries.
I tell you have to wake up sometimes, but I don't know, when I was winning on the winning streak, the 14-0 streak, everybody saw me, they said I was walking on the ocean out there. They swore it, and I went out there the other day and I fell in, so maybe that's over, but I'm just going to get an eyeful here and look at all the other guys I've pitched against and some of these other superstars. That's what makes it fun for me.
I got here 2 hours ago, and the adrenaline's still going, so I was pumped up.
Pumped up is exactly what hitters will have to be tonight. The starters will be Boston's Roger Clemens and the Mets' Dwight Gooden. During the last week and a half before the All-Star break, the Braves suffered a minor collapse, dropping 9 of their last 10 games before the break. And during that time, Atlanta pitching went from 7th in the league to 10th in team ERA. Braves pitching served up 77 runs in those 9 losses. Still, the Braves pitching has improved, and now the staff is making a pitch for the NL West crown. Good pitching will get out good hitting. That is exactly what the Braves are counting on during the second half of this season.
0-2. Call strike 3.
This Atlanta pitching staff has a new look in '86 with a 4-man rotation consisting of Zane Smith, David Palmer, Rick Mahler, and newly acquired Doyle Alexander. Smith and Palmer rank 4th and 6th respectively in the National League in strikeouts, each with more strikeouts than last year's Cy Young winner Dwight Gooden. Deep down, can you think that Zane Smith could be one of the best left-handers in the league down the road?
Well, you know, shoot, don't really want to say that, but, you know, I'm going to try my best to, you know, get there anyway.
But the big winner is Rick Mahler, whose 10 wins puts him halfway towards a first-ever 20-win season.
I'm happy that I've been able to put together some wins and help the other guys out. I think that everybody's pitched well this year for us, and I think the pitching has been a surprise to everybody and the main reason that we're in there.
Helping Mahler and the other pitchers is catcher Ozzie Virgil. His job is to know the hitters. He calls the game.
I can help them out as much as I can, but they have to go out there and put in the concentration and make the pitches when they have to. You know, we do have some real good arms on the ball club, and, you know, as long as they give me 100% and I know they're with me 100%, that's all you can ask of them.
But the biggest difference in this year's staff is the bullpen, despite the loss of Bruce Sutter. The young arms of Paul Ossenmacher, Jeff Dedman, Ed Olwine, and Steve Shields, plus the leadership of veteran Gene Garber, have produced a 36-2 record when leading after 8 innings.
I think you always would like to have done a little bit better, but up to this point, you know, I'm very happy with the way I've thrown the ball.
Garber leads the bullpen in saves with 10, and a solid second half would be a real shot in the arm for all of the Braves' arms. Tomorrow night, a Brave New World continues with a closer look at all-star outfielder Dale Murphy. Local high schools will begin preseason football drills in less than 3 weeks, and this week, 12 area schools are playing in the Punt Pass League. This league has 8 players on defense, 7 on offense. There is no hitting and only passing. It may not seem like much, but coaches like the idea.
They really enjoy it, and I think it's good to get receivers and quarterbacks together, you know, throwing passes, defensive people practice breaking on the ball. You know, I just think it's all-around good league. Punters and kickers get practice. I think it's a good thing.
The Punt Pass League consists of 12 teams with games being played at West from 4 o'clock through 9 each day of the week. The championship game will be played on Saturday. Austin East is the defending champions. A couple of other sports notes tonight. Oklahoma nose tackle Tony Casillas signed a contract with the Atlanta Falcons today. Casillas was the 2nd player chosen in April's NFL draft behind Bo Jackson. And the 1986-87 NBA season was supposed to be Julius Erving's last. But today, the Utah Jazz are considering offering the doctor a 2-year deal worth $4 million. And I guess the saying there is NBA players don't retire, they just go out for more money.
Well, Rusty, I'm curious, if history tells us that the National League would win the All-Star game tonight, what does Rusty say about that?
Naturally, I'm going to go with the American League.
Oh, okay.
Going with the American League.
Well,
Going for the
we'll
underdog.
see.
You got to root for the underdog.
Always.
Okay.
I think the American League has it this year. I don't know, it's just a feeling.
Gut feeling, huh? Okay,
Thanks,
Rusty.
Rusty. Up next, Hopper says things will dry out and heat up this week.
And this woman may not live in a shoe, but she spends her life repairing them, I should say. Meet this neighbor when we return. Doctor.
We've got the spirit. Say hello. Come on, let's hear it. Say hello.
Good.
Say hello. Say hello. Difference where I go. You're the best hometown I know. Hello, Knoxville. Hello, Knoxville. WTVA. Says hello.
So you're not going with the American League, right?
No, I'm going to go with the National League.
Well, we've got these two against each other.
Against each
I'll
other. Maybe we have a
refrain.
battle in the newsroom. Right, and I'm going with actually no rain showers in the foreseeable future in the Knoxville area. There might be a spotty, isolated thunderstorm tonight, low temperature of 68. Now for tomorrow, we really begin to heat up under partly cloudy skies, high temperature of 93, partly cloudy on Thursday, and 96 once again on Friday, and afternoon and evening showers on Saturday with a high temperature of 93. Here's Brenda.
Tucked away in downtown Rockwood is a little shoe repair shop. Now, what makes this shoe shop different from any other is that it is owned and operated by a woman. Second-generation cobbler Sherry Chapman took over the shop after ill health forced her father to give it up. And besides shoes, Shirley repairs things like baseball gloves, saddles, and golf bags, and she even dabbles in taxidermy. Bill Stewart introduces us to Shirley Chapman, shoe cobbler, in tonight's Neighbors.
For Shirley Chapman, there's no business like the shoe business. As far as she can tell, she's the only female shoe cobbler in the area. And even in the age of women's lib, some find it hard to believe.
Where's the man? Or can he fix this? Or when will the man be back in? And all this. I'll say, I'm the repairman, or person, or woman, or however you want to say it, cobblette, if you will.
Shirley's dad opened up shop 50 years ago. And as young Shirley grew older, she became his arch supporter.
When I was going up through school, I'd come over and help him on Saturdays and worked for $1 a day when I was a little bitty kid and just growed into it.
Carrying out the family tradition means Shirley can't be a loafer.
It's rougher probably than most people think, especially for a woman. A lot of it takes a lot of strength. Sewing on the big machines, and some of the little bitty hills are hard to get out.
She likes to hunt and fish, which comes in handy when you're a taxidermist.
I just had seen articles where you can mail in and get these little correspondence courses in it, and I thought, well, why not? I ordered a little book, and I started in that, and all my friends found out about it, and I started doing more with them, so now I'm a licensed taxidermist also.
Her business comes from as far away as Nashville and Knoxville, and she's made quite a reputation for herself to boot.
And this one man brought a pair of boots, and I just about had to rebuild the whole boot. He has a special built boot, and they're hard for him to get a hold of. And if you could have seen the before and after, that I guess was about my proudest specimen.
Cobbler, taxidermist wife, Shirley Chapman, the soul of the shoe repair business. With Neighbors, Bill Stewart in Rockwood.
And in our news tonight at 11, we'll have more on a controversial softball complex next to Bill Myers Stadium.
SCCA